Subscribe to Chaos Banshee or suffer the consequences.
My grandma told me this story, only if you remembered who he really belonged to. It all happened when I was on my way to the thrift shop. My daughter, Maya, saw a cute shirt that she was looking forward to buying. As we were heading over there, Maya kept telling me that she was feeling uncomfortable and that she wanted to go home, but I shook it off. After all, it was a hot sunny day where everyone was happy. It's just us walking, sweetie. Why are you being so paranoid? That's when I stopped. I wanted to look behind me, but I just couldn't. I knew Maya felt it too, because I still remember that look on her face. She was terrified. I couldn't move. At this point, we both froze. I picked up Maya, speed walking towards the grocery shop. There's something behind us, but what is it? I put Maya down for 1 second. Just 1 second. Maya? I remember just looking around, wondering where she could have gone. I remember just looking around, wondering where she could have got distracted by, or where she could have went. A car went zooming past me with the words, "Mommy," coming out of it. I knew there wasn't time to waste. I run back to my car, getting ready to zoom out of there. I go as quick as I can, going over the limit as much as I can. I saw her. She was in tears. I realized I couldn't make it, but I can't give up. I just feel my car going slowly into the air, gray all around. All I remember was me just being tired and passing out. I wake up. I feel my sheets being pulled from the bed. Stop. Hello, ma'am? I open my eyes fully. You're here. You're here for taking your daughter. My daughter? No. She has this all wrong. Where's my daughter? She's with her godmother. This can't be happening. You have court tomorrow. I suppose you get ready. What happened? You harmed your daughter by pushing her off a bridge. You've been diagnosed with a mental disorder. But I simply remember, I know there's something wrong. I felt so real. May I talk to my daughter, please? Sure. Miss, you've been in a coma for about 3 weeks, so I'd rather you stay in bed. I'm so confused about what's happened. Okay. Maya comes in. She hasn't slept. Her eyes are red. Purple covered the whole bottom of her eyes. Maya, don't you remember the whole situation? Tell her, Maya. Tell the lady that Mama's not crazy. Mommy, stop. You'll make it worse. You've already done enough hurting. Okay, there's something off about this. Maya's lying. I look back at the lady. She's not a doctor. She doesn't even belong in this hospital or whatever it is. Maya, what did this lady do to you? Maya stays quiet. I knew it. The lady grabs a cloth and puts it on my mouth. I grabbed it and threw it towards the door. I kicked her to give us enough time to escape. I grabbed Maya, giving her the look that she has explaining to do. We find an exit and ran towards the woods. The woods weren't really big. It only took us what felt like 5 minutes to get out of it if you run. We found help by this nice lady who was working in a deli. She called the police immediately. The lady got arrested for kidnapping and abusing, but she never told why she caused this. She said, only if you remember who he really belonged to. My husband was found dead a few days later. When I was in 5th grade, me and a friend went to a festival. It was nighttime, around 7:30 or 8. We decided to take a walk in the woods, just us, no parents. I was like 11 at the time, so I didn't realize how bad of an idea that was. Well, we walked really far and it was getting very dark out. We saw a sketchy looking man in front of us. He was wearing a black hoodie and jeans. We couldn't really see his face, but we saw a little bit because of the moonlight. We started to get a really bad feeling, but before we could leave, the guy opened his mouth and said, "Hey kids, you want some drugs?" He had very little teeth, and the few he did have were rotting. His breath smelled terrible. He just looked like he wasn't mentally okay. He grabbed my friend's arms, and before she could try and struggle away, I threw a rock at his face. Not a very big one, but it had some weight. He let go and we both sprinted back down to the festival. Needless to say, we never went there again. When I was like 9 or 10, the movie Monsters Inc. came out. I loved it so much, all I wanted for my birthday was this little set of Monsters Inc. dolls that talk to each other. You know, Mike and Sully. I got it for my birthday, and that night I put it in my toy box in my closet and went to sleep and started hearing them talk to each other. The first time, it didn't really scare me. I just got out of bed and flipped the switches off and climbed back in bed. A few minutes later, it started up again, but this time it was like maniacal laughter and some muffled words that I couldn't make out, but it definitely wasn't the 1, 2, or 3 phrases that were programmed in it. So I got a little creeped out. I went in my parents' room and woke them up, and my dad begrudgingly removed the batteries from the battery packs and tucked me back in. A few minutes later, I started again, but this time I was frozen and couldn't get out of bed until my parents. So I just started screaming wildly until my parents ran in the room. My dad told me I was just tired and hearing things, but I begged them to stay in the room with me so they could hear it. My dad was always very uncomfortable with us believing in anything supernatural, so he left the room, refusing to feed what he thought was a kid being paranoid. But my mom had a weird feeling, I guess, so she lay down with me in the bed, and a few minutes later, they started talking and laughing again. She got so freaked out she checked to be sure that all the batteries were out and the toy was off, then threw it away and wouldn't allow anything else Monsters Inc. related in our home again after that. Dad didn't believe us though. A few years later, I was like 18 and we were packing to move. As I was packing the movies, I came across the Monsters Inc. movie and assumed it was just my niece's movie, and although it reminded me of how creepy that was, I just moved on until I came across 2 more of the same Monsters Inc. movies. I have no idea why that happened with the movies or what was going on with the toy, if it was just a short in the toy or what, but I've never liked Monsters Inc. since then, and I don't really let my kids have Monsters Inc. stuff in our house just because of how freaky that was. Talking toys are creepy, but I just hate that whole memory so much to this day.